Or do I, moving on to the agenda, okay. Okay. No, I'm good. I'm good. Where does it air, or where's it, it's on YouTube? Like, is there a, what's the link for it? You go to the. And it's right there?
Basically, we're just
Mm-hmm.
You're good to go.
Good evening. Calling to order Park and Board for March 23rd, 2026 at 6 p.m. All members are present for this meeting. Moving on to the approved agenda.
I have one change to the agenda. We're gonna, under new business, we're gonna remove 7.1, park signage options. And that's it.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda
As amended.
as amended?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the consent agenda for Park and Board minutes, February 23rd, 2026. Request for any changes to the minutes? Call for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, communications, reports, and petitions. We have the city council minutes from February 10th, 2026, Byron Community Newsletter, and Park and Pool Monthly Budget. Do we have any discussions on these topics? Moving on to public hearing, which is not happening. Unfinished business, the Park and Board bylaws.
Yep, so last meeting, we briefly discussed our park board bylaws, and that they weren't really matching with what our ordinance is. So what you see in the packet is all the changes that need to be made to our bylaws to bring them to match what's in our city code. So I don't know if anybody had a chance to get through all that. If there's any changes to that you guys want, great. Otherwise, what we're looking for is a motion to approve the bylaws as amended.
Any discussions or motions to approve?
I move we approve as, just as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business. We're here to discuss the BCRC concession proposals.
Yep, so just to kind of bring you up to speed here since last month we did, you guys did offer a recommendation to the council to look for a concession stand manager. Prior to us getting that approved by the council, we had a resident of Byron come forth that was looking to start her own little business to run the concession stand and possibly expand that into other aspects such as the farmer's market, the soccer complex, all that kind of stuff. as her own entity. So the city would just be providing the facility and any other type of revenue share there that would come from that. Because the city is not allowed to direct select like that, we did put this out through our website, social media and all that for any proposals for the concession stand. We did get one additional proposal that is on the desk there for everybody. However, I've met with the original proposal of this, and they have a lot of questions and are kind of concerned about the financial side of it, with the startup, all those things that go to getting going on it. We don't really have any data to show them as far as last year's sales were this. Another thing that I've learned going through this with people that I've talked to is we kind of have a schedule with what we have for last year, but we don't usually get our youth organization schedules. We get them like maybe 2 to 3 weeks ahead of, just leapfrogging ahead all the time. So we don't necessarily have a consistent schedule. But the other big thing is I believe the city of Byron has only hosted one tournament at those fields since they've been alive. So that's a big thing. I'm assuming you make some pretty good profits off of tournaments, for the whole day. You're getting breakfast, lunch, snacks, all that all day versus just 2 hours at night, for a ball game. So I understand the concern there. The original proposal did rescind their proposal and was asking that we revisit this for 2027. However, we did get a second proposal from the Rochester Softball Association. They provide concessions at 5 sites in Rochester currently. They are a nonprofit. They did give examples of menus and what they're looking to do. I believe it's a very well put together proposal from them. So we're kind of in an option right here. Ultimately tonight, what I'm looking for from the board is how do we want to pursue this? The other option that we have with Rochester Softball Association, and I feel like this would be a better option for all of us, is I have not had a chance to communicate with the RSA since they gave this proposal, but based on their menu and based on some of the items that they have in their negotiables, we don't have those. So our concession stand is not set up to go anywhere past a tier 1, which would be prepackaged. However, should we decide in the future to go past a tier 1, we would need to put some 3-tub sink in for the wash, the bleach, and the dry, rinse, all that. I think concession stands have gotten a lot more high-tech than what I was used to growing up, now it's more of a scaled-down restaurant, basically. And knowing what I know, the money's in the entrees, basically, not the bags of popcorn and things like that. That's just a bonus. But so not having the ability to connect with RSA's representatives, walk them through the concession stand, knowing this is what you get. This is all we have. What else are we going to take? My recommendation is to maybe look at this as city runs it this year on a very limited prepackaged tier 1 basic, maybe popcorn, maybe frozen pizza, because I believe that still falls under a tier 1. But then revisit this in October so that we have time, staff has time to, anybody that's interested in it, you set up an appointment, we'll take you through, this is what we have. That also gives staff time to say, and the board to come with a recommendation of the council to upgrade the concession stand to host more of a tier 2, get into that tier 2 category. Some of that might be obviously the cleaning, some of that might be electrical, with more 20 amp breakers or, whatever we need in that. We just have not utilized that to the full potential. And I just think that our recreation coordinator coming in, I personally would like to see more things out there. To be transparent and honest about it, I think those fields get used from 5:30 to 9:30, 4 nights a week, from May to September, end of September. No weekends, no nothing. I mean, I very rarely see people out there other than those specific times. So I think we'd get more interest in providing this service to the community if we had more events. And that might be something more where then the city might want to venture down that road as a revenue, because there's revenue to be made in the concession stand. We know it. We've all had to fork over the money at a concession stand. There's money to be made. But I feel like after talking with the proposal that removed itself, that maybe we are rushing this a little bit and not painting a clear picture on what somebody would be walking into. I appreciate the RSA getting us this proposal. I think it's fantastic. You know, I would love to see them continue with a proposal. But I just looking for feedback from you guys. What are you thinking, and what are you looking at off the top of your head for moving forward?
I agree that it feels a little rushed in having people tell us what they can do when we're not even sure what it is that we need or want out there yet, or the schedule that allows for that. So I think the city taking the reins for this year and kind of getting a feel for what it is that's happening out there and what would be successful and what would not, and how we'd want to staff it would be the best approach.
I agree. I think kind of letting the city run it, see what people want, what is going to be the revenue stream available, would be a good way to start.
That's the biggest thing that I don't have an answer for is I can't tell somebody last year the city grossed X number or this person grossed, I don't know what that would be, you know?
Does the city feel by providing this service to, it's going to draw more tournaments on the weekends, or there's going to be more ability for that, or that's a sought-after thing we're missing?
Honestly, I doubt it, because there's always the option for, if an organization wants to have a tournament, there's the option to have a concession stand.
Okay.
You know, I don't think that's what's holding us back. I do feel like moving in the future that this might be a discussion where we start advertising our fields. Actually, if you read through the RSA's proposal, it's kind of in there, how we could become a partnership for the county, you know, where it could be, I could see Byron being another site of a big tournament. You know, my daughter plays in volleyball tournaments up in the cities, and there's 35 different sites all over the cities. This group gets assigned to that site, this group gets assigned to that site. So I think that would be something in the future that we may have to have a discussion about, just to utilize it, you know. I mean, we've spent a lot of money out there to keep it looking nice for the 4 nights, maybe sometimes 5, but, and kind of get a better idea of what does a season schedule look like, and what is the data on a season of fully run. But I'm open to any other feedback, questions.
Like I said, I think I'd like to see what consistently having concessions out there for the season, to see what the revenue stream would look like, to be able to give somebody a good idea of what they could see happening, and potentially see what people would be interested in having out there.
The hard part with that's going to be is you're going to, well, to answer your question, that would be a good place to start, because that's the most basic.
Absolutely.
Anything greater than that is obviously your revenue's going to go up.
Obviously.
You know.
And then you'd have a point of reference to give somebody for the following seasons.
What I would look at doing in that situation is, and I discussed this with staff internally, would be is to actually purchase a popcorn maker from the city, and that would just be part of that building facility. But that would allow us this year to, I calculated out for software, for point of sale software and things like that, we're gonna be under a couple grand to get started, not including inventory. You know, with our point of sale on iPad, you know, the popcorn maker and some other things. But, I mean, I don't know if it's even worth venturing down like nachos or even anything like that yet. You know, get an idea of the numbers. What numbers are we looking at?
Just looking at candy bars,
Candy bars, popcorn, Pop,
Popcorn,
Gatorade,
Pop,
you know, we can do
just the big-
frozen stuff. We can do ice cream, somethings,
Sure.
whatever all that stuff is.
Is there a sink in there at all, even just a single?
There's a hand sink.
So, only because I have some experience in this, and I admit my business is mobile, but could we check with the health department? Because when I'm on site for certain things, all I actually need is 3 bins to to have water in. It does not
Okay.
need to run into it.
Okay.
And so, could we obviously still start small, but even by midsummer, if the health department would allow us to designate a table with 3 bins, here's your wash, rinse, sanitize, and you just have to move the water. I mean, it's more complicated, but could we test run some things without having to spend money on a sink
Right.
and infrastructure, and maybe add a couple of things at a time, so that when this comes around again in the fall, we'd even have some of those numbers
Right.
potentially.
Do you know, if you put in a 3 sink, do you still have to have a separate hand washing sink?
Yes.
yeah.
Which the one standalone would, but, and,
You couldn't remove that one and put in,
no, but if you look at, again, with plumbing and all that fun stuff, if you look at the whole thing, I think you can buy them where it's the 3 and then the hand washing's on the end, so it would still just be one unit.
because we have a mop sink in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to check with the county specifically on what they'd be willing to bend, but sometimes with those flexible-ish environments, they're a little more giving as long as they know you aren't gonna hurt anybody.
Right, and that's the hard part that I don't, the first person that brought it forth, I had spoken with the Olmsted County, and I was getting conflicting from when she spoke with them. So, because I had originally, but that's why I brought it up to us at the last meeting was, you know, we could stay in this. He kind of walked me through, we're a seasonal because we're closed 5 months consecutively, all this different items, but she was telling me that she would have a health department plan review, but I look at that as, I don't know how she portrayed it because she's not building a building, she's not doing any renovations. Where we had that building was Department Health inspected, you know, designed, everything approved already. So that's where I'm kind of confused on, that was some of her pricing, that was, that initial startup cost that was getting,
Well, and she'd be for profit, right, as a small business,
Right.
so, and this would be a discussion for October, but this situation versus her, I would almost want to discuss potentially doing something like this, or if she were to come into the game, it might just be easier to charge her rent rather
Right.
than do a profit share.
right.
And so that's the other kind of, as we've been talking about it being too fast, I think that's the other confounding part of the situation.
Agreed.
One of the things that, has the intern, you said they have an intern starting, right?
May.
One of my suggestions is that the intern contacts all the, quote, stakeholders, all the people the organizations that are down there. Because there has been, my understanding, some talk about having some bigger tournaments again. And that will give an idea then of the way that you want to proceed, I think. When there was a tournament down there a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago, there was some good sales and stuff then, and then the tournament kind of went away, and for different reasons. But I think if that was in the plans, like there has been talk about it again, I think that someone like these other people that want to rent it or do their thing, I think that it would be better off. And I think that getting an idea of what's going to be happening down there will be more so if the intern would have time to be able to speak to these organizations.
And it might be something too where we're able to help facilitate those a little bit more, you
Yes.
know?
Yep.
Maybe help with some marketing or help with something, or, you know, not make it all a volunteer. Because, I mean, it is a lot of work. I just help organize and run a volleyball tournament Saturday and Sunday this weekend. It takes a lot of people. But how can we streamline that to make it more favorable for people to want to do that, you know?
When does the schedule come out for or when are you guys expecting the first games or tournaments?
Well, the first game is supposed to be April, because we host the 7th and 8th grade, the middle school baseball teams out there. And their first games, they start first week in April, second week in April. So there's a strong possibility by the time whoever has to get their permitting we're not gonna be available then. Plus, we have the issue with, I'm not comfortable turning the water on at the beginning of April like that, because you never know what Mother Nature might say. And we'll be fixing a lot of things, but. So my question to the board then would be I would like a motion to continue to pursue the option of moving forward with RSA for this year, or moving forward with the city providing a limited concession with the idea of gathering knowledge. And we would be putting an ad out for seasonal concession stand workers.
I would like to move forward with the city running it for this year. And
I second that.
You're the
I'll
chair.
second.
Oh, I can't say that.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gary, was that you on the second?
I think I snuck
Either
in.
me
Yeah.
or, doesn't matter.
Gary's shorter
anyone.
than Melissa.
Okay, calling for any public comments? Public comments at this time? Public comments, anyone? No comments. That would end the meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.